Hi, this is Chris Kirby with PCT Solutions. You know, one of the things that I get asked most often is about how one transitions from the personal to the professional conversation, or back again. Some are really good at having the personal conversation. They can find out everything there is to know about the person in front of them on a first meeting or on a 20th meeting. They'll be able to carry on a wonderful conversation about how the kids are, about how the wife is or the husband, about how the latest vacation went. Whatever, the personal topics are very easy for them, but they have a hard time transitioning to business. There are others I know who have a great time talking about business. They can do anything. They can carry their weight in the conversation around business, but seem to have little, if any, interest in finding out what's going on with the other individual personally. How is their spouse? How are their kids? Do they even know if the person's ever been on vacation? You see, the issue here is that we're talking about those silos of information, the personal or the professional, as if they are exclusive points of conversation, as if we can't have the same conversation with the same person at the same time and talk about both. How do you go from the personal conversation to the professional and back again? First of all, I need to say to you that in the world of client-centric relationship development, this is not about chasing business. This is about growing relationships, because the reality is that if we do relationship building well, then we will get the business without having to put pressure on those relationships, without having to chase the file or chase the matter. We can simply grow relationships organically with the people in front of us. Notice also that very often we'll be talking to people who will never need what we do. Many of you are in esoteric fields. You're doing things that, candidly, the person on the street typically isn't going to run into, and that's really okay. Because the truth of the matter is that if we treat every relationship as important, if we take every opportunity and recognize that it is important in the moment for you and for the person with whom you're involved, then we can take the heat off. We can relax. We can simply enjoy that conversation. We're not talking here about trying to capture a piece of business, but allowing a relationship to grow and grow comfortably so that when the business comes or the opportunity for business comes, you'll have the relationship to win it. Notice also that if you check your motives and if you give the relationship and the conversation the respect that it's due, then you don't have to worry about whether it's nosy versus curious. Curious is because I'm interested in who they are and where they are and what they find interesting. Nosy is trying to find out the information I need, not the information they want to provide. So how can one carry on a conversation in which you can transition seamlessly from the business conversation to the personal and back again? We all pretty much know what the first two questions are going to be when we meet somebody, don't we? The first one, what's your name? The second one, what do you do? Then where do we go? Perhaps what you need to do is simply step back and think about and prepare so that strategically you have questions you can ask in those circumstances or situations. How can you ask someone about their business and their life in a way that they would answer both, or they would answer the one that they find interesting? Perhaps you see a picture in their office that suggests that they're big hunters or they're hikers or they like going traveling or whatever the case may be. Perhaps you could say to them, I'm curious, with everything else happening in your professional life, how do you find time to do that? And then listen for the answer. If they decide to talk about that last trip that they took to Tibet or to Spain or to wherever, listen and talk to them about that trip. Similarly, if they talk to you about all the busyness at work, guess where I'm going? Because at the end of the day, this is not somehow a competition to find out the most information. This is an opportunity to grow a relationship. Notice, if you grow the relationship well, if you make it comfortable for the other person, then you earn yourself the opportunity to have another conversation, to find out more about work or personal as the case may be. Whereas if they feel like it is an inquisition or a deposition, then the last thing they're going to want to do is talk to you again. So give them the opportunity to feel comfortable in the conversation in whatever direction that they want to go. I remember a client of mine, for example, who was incredibly busy, worked on Wall Street, and yet at the same time he found time to go fishing with a client of his 3 hours away from the nearest paved road in the middle of Alaska. Listen, he had a lot to say about both of those things, and both of them were fascinating. His work and his Alaskan fishing trip. And I want to hear about both in due time. You see, in client-centric business development, we really think about this as a seamless unity between work and life. The fact is that people don't simply have their work hat and then their personal hat. Everything really intermingles with each other. Keep in mind, the person you're talking to can smell it a mile away if they think that you're just asking about their personal life so that you can then transition and start trying to sell them something. Likewise, they'll know if you're asking them about business and you have no interest in them as the individual. So you really need to pay attention to your motives. What you're doing here is finding out about who they are and what they do in all of their life so that you can help them succeed in every way as they define it. Why is it that they do the business that they do? How does it add to the life that they're trying to create outside? Why is it that they're spending the hours and days, weeks and months on making their business succeed? Why? Not simply to capture some more assets. It's to feed into the life that they're creating for themselves and for those that they love. I need to be interested in them, the individual, so that I can assist them in the totality of their life to create what it is that they want to create. And I can only do that by asking great questions in both silos of personal and professional, and then truly listening to the answer. I need to know where they want to go because I want to help them get there so I can help them succeed as they define it.